So here we are, record of the week.
Correct.
Right? So
Correct.
So the Left Banke, Walk Away Renée.
Right.
Ask me why we're talking about this song.
Why are we going to do this song?
Because the dinner the other night, are we allowed to even mention that we had dinner?
No.
Okay. When we weren't eating a dinner the other night,
At the steakhouse.
our fearless leader, Tony,
Our fearful leader.
Tony, suggested that we do the Left Banke's Walk Away Renée. And obviously a seminal hit in our youth.
Yeah.
Major AM radio hit. Hey, Pete, did you know
Pete.
the song?
I didn't know the song.
You didn't?
No.
So interesting because
By the way,
yeah.
Rolling Stone placed Walk Away Renée, number 200? Number 220 in the greatest songs of all time. 500
Wow.
greatest songs of all time.
That's amazing, actually.
I mean,
a lot of
it's
songs in the
you
world.
grew up. I mean, that was embedded in your brain.
It was a seminal hit. And, it wasn't like a rock song. It was more like a pop song
Yeah, it
that
was
was kind of
fucking-
psychedelic. No, not even psychedelic.
more
Pop
like
song. Right.
Yeah.
So my thought was, Tony's a big music fan, of all songs for him to think about.
Right.
And
He's a huge Dylan fan.
he's a huge Dylan
So
fan. But
the
he's
fact that he comes back with this is pretty interesting.
And so in listening to it, which we just did, and it's kind of an amazing record.
It's beautiful.
It's all sort of organic, right? So there's strings, but they sound like it might be a mellotron. There's a flute that sounds like it could be a mellotron.
Yeah, the strings really definitely have a thing where it's hard to, they're obviously real strings. We check the credits and they're real string players. But they do have a kind
But they're
of
so
quality.
out of tune that it sounds like a mellotron.
No, but interestingly enough, one of the things that we both looked at each other the first time through was, in 2017, they would have auto-tuned the out of those vocals.
Right.
And it's so funny growing up and hearing this song, a seminal song, and singing along with it, right? Just singing it in your head. I can't imagine, no one I know basically who knows that song ever even thought about the fact that there are tuny moments in the vocals.
Major tuny moments.
But they are musical.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful in a way. It doesn't really, until you really, if we weren't analyzing it, I probably wouldn't have, you know what I mean? If we weren't
you might have turned it off.
If it's too off, you're too old.
But it's a beautiful melody, right? It starts with this kind of romantic melody, and also the arrangement for like AM radio back in those days. You hit that hook chorus probably in 30 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
Don't bore us.
Where's the chorus?
Yeah, and but also it never struck me as being. I mean, it's not psychedelic, right? But it's...
Well, the only reason I say it's not is because there's no, effects going on. It's so natural. It really is like the instruments on their own. There's no flanging. There's not a lot of reverb on the vocal, I guess, but that's standard pop material.
But just in the choice of instrumentation, there's no electric guitar.
Right.
Or at least that we can hear.
No, it sounds like a picking acoustic, but it's hard to tell because there is an acoustic in there, but then there's the harpsichord, and you could tell they're pushing the harpsichord up in certain moments because it's low, and then for the key melodies, it kind of comes out.
But it was on rock radio or pop radio.
Right.
But it's really, the instrumentation is completely classical.
Yeah.
It's strings, harpsichord, flute, a little bass and drums,
right,
and background vocals. And that's really all it is. And it kind of, I wouldn't say that it doesn't rock, but it grooves.
Oh, it's a beautiful song.
You were pointing out the bass part, the bass sound, and
the bass sound is wonderful because it's so pillowy. There's no attack, and the question is, hey Stewie, what kind of bass do you think that is, right? And what's your response?
I thought it was just a Fender P bass, but maybe played, with a mute or with a thumb.
Right. What's a mute? Describe to everybody what a mute is.
Well, you would put something under the strings so that the strings themselves don't ring. And they're dampened a little bit.
Right. But
no sustain.
But also, Hofner basses, the Paul McCartney bass was super popular back then, but it definitely has a different sound, a more stringy sound and a tacky sound. So part of me thinks, well, I guess it's not possible by the way it sounds, but it would be interesting to know if, Hofner with the tone knob all the way off, if that even could do anything like that. But the point about that the bass sound is it's just super supportive and so low that you feel it, and it doesn't get in the way of any of the acoustic instruments.
And there's really
that have
no
like
extraneous riffing. It's just pointing to the chord and walking down.
But every now and then there's like the harpsichord flourish, which is very cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, so that's a little bit of but not in the way at all.
You think that is your guess that it was cut live?
I mean, I would only
maybe not
say,
the strings.
Yeah,
but
I would only say cut live in the sense of back then, I guess everybody cut live. But, I mean, because what are we talking, 1967?
Yeah, 60, I think even maybe
really?
66.
Because, I mean, we're talking about 4-track mentality, right? We're talking about 4-track world. 1966, released.
In New York.
Right. So I'm saying it had to be like 4-track or something, right? Or 66?
Probably.
So probably mostly cut live.
So they cut it like bass, drums, harpsichord.
Yeah.
And then they probably
An
overdubbed the strings and and acoustic.
Yeah.
Strings and flute. And did you, like, after listening to it a few times, do you have any recollection of the drum sound you just heard?
No, zero.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Not super important.
It's interesting. I mean, I can't make out if there's a bass drum. Of course, there is a bass drum, but I can't hear it.
I think the bass guitar is the focus of the low end.
Right.
But yeah, the drums are definitely in the back and
just mostly like cymbal ride, cymbal.
Yeah. I would say, 4-track drums and bass and guitar and maybe harpsichord live.
Oh, is there like a Farfisa maybe?
I don't think so.
No?
It doesn't sound like there's anything amplified in there. But like they probably, let's just say, okay, 4 tracks, they filled it up with all that stuff, and then they bounced to 2 tracks of the next 4-track, and, maybe that's when they did the vocals in the backgrounds.
Right.
You know what I mean? Which would make sense.
Right.
I was also thinking the strings sound like a quartet, but they sound mono for some reason. You know what I mean? They're not like in stereo. They
could have been recorded on one mic.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? There's no like stereo spread of the strings at all. It's like literally like right in the middle.
Yeah. Not a hi-fi record, but a very vibey record.
Yes, I think it sounds great. I don't
and
know.
Also, nothing is doubled, right? It's all, you hear the instrument, the clarity of the instrument is front and center at all times. And it doesn't really sound like it's like things are like even mixed in a way, like level mixing. It just seems like a performance.
Yeah. So like static. It's very static, right?
Right.
Yeah. I have to go back. The high backgrounds in the chorus are so out of tune.
They're still here. You're still hearing it.
But it's really, once again, I'm not being that guy. I'm just laughing because they really out of tune. And I've heard that song for 50 years now, and this is the first time I've actually ever even thought about it or noticed it. It never bothered me at all.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit of a lesson in that.
Yeah.
Once you get into that thing of now we do it for a profession and you start analyzing things, do you start to lose a little of your enjoyment
a little
of
the
it?
Magic. Oh, all right. That too, right. Yeah. I do very little analyzing, so I'm enjoying it. Oh, my God.
Okay.
So you also, but we're getting back to the arrangement, it literally is intro, short verse, chorus.
Right.
So it's interesting, and there is no kind of...
There's no B verse.
There's no B verse.
There's no vamping.
There's no bridge.
No bridge,
right?
no vamping.
So it's literally A, B the whole way. And the flute is...
the main solo
the verse,
instrument.
But the verse, and then it goes back to the chorus after the flute.
And you're out, yeah.
Yeah. So all the times I tell bands, you need a bridge, I'm so full of shit.
So from now on, you just go and say, hey, Walk Away Renée.
No, what you say is A, B, A, B.
Done.
A, you, over there, B. So Stewie, it's so listening to the song and the flute solo is highly featured. I mean, it's loud.
It's yeah. It's
loudin'. It's so loud. It's loudin'. But it's interesting. It's so featured, and we sat here and we looked at Wiki, and under the credits, flute player is unknown musician.
How is that possible?
It's sad.
It's so.
It's
I mean,
really
how did that happen?
I don't know. Does that mean the guy who wrote the Wiki entry just doesn't?
No, the album probably didn't credit him, and he probably was some guy they called in from the union. He wasn't in the band,
right?
Because he sounds like a professional flute player,
Yeah.
but maybe he didn't drop off his. I don't know. Maybe he never got paid.
That would suck.
Yeah, wouldn't that suck?
But I mean, it really is so featured. You know what I mean? It's like such a featured part of the song.
It's very California Dream, and it's
Did that happen a lot with the Mamas and Papas?
No. Just in terms of it's a featured flute solo.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was probably a thing of the day where everyone thought, "Oh, let's have a flute solo." Right.
Hippies, drum circles,
exactly,
and flute solos,
and flutes.
Right, and a little bit of wacky weed. Not a lot of bathing.
No. or tuning.
Those drum circles are the worst. Have you been to one recently?
Not recently. Why, you have?
Smells like an old Knish.
Oh, boy. So, maybe we'll get Tony to give us 2 seconds on why he suggested the song.
Yeah, I would love to know in his life, the first time he heard the song, what was he doing?
Oh, boy.
Where was he?
Okay.
First kiss?
Okay. It's very romantic, no doubt.
First A to D converter?
First harmonizer?
First, yeah, exactly. Anyway, so there you go.
There you go. The Left Banke.
Walk Away Renee. Geller. I know
Richards.
Renee. Walk Away Renee. Richards. For extras from the episodes, like playlists, links, and videos, head over to gearclubpodcast.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and come say hi and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Gear Club Podcast. Thanks for listening.
And please, if you like what you hear, let us know and leave a review.